Yo, hold up. They told you FBG Duck got killed because he was a street menace, right? Wrong. King Von allegedly dropped $50,000, then raised it to $100,000, some say even higher, on FBG Duck's head. And it was never about who was the most active shooter on the block. Trap Lore Ross just broke it all the way down. Von had been hunting Duck for years, not because Duck was out here bodying O-Block members left and right, but because Duck's music was doing more damage than any gun ever could. Dead Bitches. Exposing Me remix. Duck was out here naming the dead, mocking O-Block's fallen, turning their grief into viral dices that millions of people were bumping. 6 months before the Gold Coast hit, Von dropped a music video that literally showed him killing somebody who looked just like Duck. That wasn't art, that was a message. FBI documents, confidential informants, $128,000 worth of O-Block chains bought as trophies after the murder. The full picture is crazier than the blogs ever told you. Duck signed a major deal, had bread, had a way out, but he kept going. And Von saw him as the ultimate trophy. This one's about to flip everything you thought you knew. Strap in. Alight. So let's get straight into it, because this story is way deeper than the "he was an op so he got touched" narrative the internet loves to push. Before we even talk about that fateful day on Oak Street in Chicago's Gold Coast, we have to understand the real war that was happening between King Von and FBG Duck. And according to Trap Lore Ross and multiple documented sources, it wasn't primarily about who was catching more bodies in the streets. It was about respect, grief, and music as a weapon. FBG Duck, Carlton Weekly, wasn't some super active street assassin stacking bodies like some claimed. By many accounts inside the city, he wasn't the one out here doing the most drilling. But what he was doing was something Von and O-Block found far more dangerous. He was using his music to publicly disrespect and humiliate them in the most painful way possible. Less than a month before he was killed, Duck dropped Dead Bitches, a track that went straight at slain O-Block members, including mocking names tied to their losses. He was turning their dead homies into punchlines for the world to stream. In Chicago street culture, that is different. That cuts deeper than a bullet sometimes. Trap Lore Ross laid it out crystal clear. King Von had been trying to get at FBG Duck for years. Not weeks. Not months. Years. Duck wasn't just another op to Von, he was the trophy. The one that would mean the most. The one Von allegedly wanted crossed off more than anybody else. And according to FBI declassified documents, Von put serious money behind that feeling. A confidential informant claimed Von first offered $50,000 for Duck's head, then raised it to $100,000. Some accounts floating in the streets even talk about higher numbers. That's not pocket change. That's investment. That's an obsession. Think about the timeline. Back in January 2019, Memo 600 dropped the Exposing Me remix featuring Von. They went in on their rivals. Duck and Ruga answered right back with their own version in February. From that moment, the musical war was official and very personal. But it didn't stop there. In February 2020, 6 months before the murder, King Von released a music video where he literally depicts shooting someone who looks just like FBG Duck. Same features, same energy. Trap Lore Ross called it eerily prophetic. Von was putting the vision on camera for the world to see while the real plot was allegedly moving behind the scenes. And Duck? He knew the smoke was there. He had signed a major deal with Sony. He had money coming in. He had a way to potentially step back from the streets. But according to people who were watching, he kept posting up on the block. He kept dropping that pain. One person in the streets put it perfectly: Duck signed the deal. I'm thinking he's gonna change his mindset. Folks got his bread. I see folks' ass still on the block posted up. That decision, staying visible, staying vocal, allegedly sealed his fate. On August 4th, 2020, everything came to a head. Around 4:37 p.m. in broad daylight, four gunmen jumped out of 2 cars on Oak Street in the upscale Gold Coast area. FBG Duck was shopping for his son. He was hit multiple times in the neck, chest, and groin. He was pronounced dead a short time later at Northwestern Memorial Hospital. A 36-year-old man and a 26-year-old woman were also wounded. Prosecutors later proved through surveillance and license plate readers that the cars came straight from Parkway Gardens, O'Block. This wasn't some random drive-by. This was coordinated. This was personal. And according to testimony and evidence in the federal case, it was connected to that long-standing bounty and the years of musical warfare. After Duck was killed, prosecutors say Vaughn celebrated by buying $128,000 worth of diamond O'Block pendants from an Atlanta jeweler, some purchased right after the murder. Marcus Muwop Smart was pictured with Vaughn, and those chains were allegedly treated like trophies. Chains were allegedly treated like trophies. Trap Lore Ross pointed out something heavy. Vaughn seemed more joyful when he found out Duck was dead than when one of his own songs blew up. That tells you the level of investment Vaughn had in this outcome. Duck's music had become a constant thorn, a public humiliation that O'Block couldn't ignore. Every stream, every view, every comment section was another reminder. But here's what makes this even crazier. Duck wasn't some faceless enemy to them. These men knew each other's worlds. Chicago is small like that. The same blocks, the same history, the same larger GD versus BD tensions playing out for years. The Duck came from the Tukaville/GD side. Vaughn was O'Block/BD. The music just turned the volume all the way up. This is exactly why Memo 600 and others who were there say nobody tells the full story. Because the full story isn't clean. It's not good guys versus bad guys. It's years of pain, years of dices, years of real grief being weaponized on tracks, and a bounty that allegedly kept growing because the target wouldn't stop talking. And the consequences? They were brutal. Because the consequences of that day didn't stop with FBG Duck lying on Oak Street. What happened next pulled in the entire machinery of the federal government and exposed just how deep this war had gotten. Prosecutors didn't just charge 6 men with murder. They hit them with RICO, Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. That's the same law they use on mafia families. The government argued that O'Block wasn't just a neighborhood or a rap crew. It was a criminal enterprise, and FBG Duck's murder was done in furtherance of that enterprise. 6 men, Marcus Muwop Smart, Carlos Offord, Ralph Turpin, Charles Liggins, Kenneth Roberson, and Christopher Thomas, were found guilty of murder in aid of racketeering and conspiracy. They're all facing mandatory life sentences. But here's what the trial barely touched on: the years of bad blood that Trap Lore Ross exposed. The music videos. The diss tracks. The personal obsession. The bounty that allegedly started at $50,000 and went up to $100,000, with some in the streets saying even higher. None of that emotional history was the main focus in court. The prosecutors kept it surgical. Cars leaving O'Block, surveillance footage, license plate readers, the 4 gunmen jumping out in broad daylight. They proved the mechanics. They didn't dive into why Vaughn saw Duck as the ultimate trophy. After the killing, the celebration was allegedly loud. Prosecutors claimed Vaughn dropped big money, around $128,000, on diamond-encrusted O'Block pendants from an Atlanta jeweler. Some of those chains were bought right after Duck was gone. Marcus Smart was pictured with Vaughn, and those pendants were allegedly treated like trophies. In the streets, that's how they keep score. You take something from your op, you celebrate it visibly. Now let's talk about FBG Duck the man, not just the op. Carlton Weekly wasn't some mindless killer. He lost people close to him early: a cousin to police violence in 2005, his friend Shondale Gregory in 2011. That pain pushed him toward the streets, toward Tukaville GD. But he also had real talent. In 2017 he blew up with Slide, got a major Sony deal. People around him thought the money and the deal would change his mindset. One voice from the streets said it perfectly in that clip: Duck signed the deal. I'm thinking he's gonna change his mindset. Folks got his bread. I see folks' ass still on the block posted up. That decision to stay visible, to keep dropping pained music like Dead Bitches, a track that went straight at O'Block's death, is what many believe made the hit inevitable. Duck wasn't just dissing, he was rubbing salt in very fresh wounds. And in Chicago, especially inside the BD versus GD tension, that kind of public humiliation demands a response. Trap Lore Ross keeps stressing this point. Duck's real power wasn't in the streets with guns. It was his pen and his platform. His music reached millions. Every time he dropped a bar about O'Block's fall, It wasn't just heard in Chicago, it was heard worldwide. That's a different kind of threat. Vaughn, who was also rising fast with his storytelling style, understood the danger. His own music was doing the exact same thing, turning real street life into art that the world consumed. But when the target started firing back just as effectively, it became personal. The Gold Coast location made it even louder. The Duck wasn't hiding in the hood. He was shopping in one of Chicago's richest areas in broad daylight. For gunmen still pulled up. That sent a message louder than any diss track: nowhere is safe. Not even the upscale shopping district. Not even with cameras everywhere. The same cameras that helped prosecutors build their case. And here's the part that still divides people. Duck was a father of 4. His mother Lashina has been vocal, saying her son was trying to leave the streets behind. She rejects the idea that he was just another gangbanger. On the other side, O'Block lost people too, including people close to Vaughn. Grief on both sides. Pain on both sides. But the way it played out, the bounty, the music videos, the public celebration, turned it into something that couldn't stay contained. This wasn't a one-day event. This was years in the making. From the exposing me back and forth in 2019, to the prophetic video in early 2020, to Dead Bitches dropping in July 2020, to the hit in August. The timeline shows a sustained conflict that kept escalating. And once the trigger was pulled in Gold Coast, there was no going back. 6 men are doing life because of it. Vaughn himself was killed just 3 months later in Atlanta, never answering for his alleged role. Lil Durk has also been dragged into related civil suits claiming he knew about the bounty and the violence. The whole situation pulled in managers, labels, federal agents, and entire neighborhoods. This is why Memo 600 and others who are really there say nobody tells the real story. Because the real story is messy. It's not clean heroes and villains. It's talented young men from the same brutal environment using music as both their escape and their weapon, until the weapons became real and the music became evidence. And the cycle? It keeps going. New names, new diss tracks, new losses. The Chicago drill gave the world a sound, but the streets that created it keep paying the heaviest price. Because the full truth never fully came out in that courtroom, and that's exactly why Trap Lore Ross's breakdown hits are so different. The federal case gave the world 6 convictions and mandatory life sentences, but it barely scratched the surface of the years-long psychological war that led to August 4, 2020. The prosecution kept it clean and surgical. Cars from O'Block surveillance, for gunmen in broad daylight, Turpin spotting Duck at the children's store and alerting the crew. They proved the mechanics of the hit. What they didn't emphasize was the why at its deepest level. King Vaughn allegedly saw FBG Duck as the ultimate trophy. Not just another op, but the one whose voice, whose music, whose ability to publicly disrespect O'Block's death hurt the most. Vaughn was making real money from his own violent storytelling. Duck was doing the same thing back at him, only more personal. Dead Bitches dropping just weeks before the murder was seen by many as the final straw. After the killing, the alleged celebration was loud. Prosecutors claimed Vaughn spent big money, around $128,000, on diamond O'Block chains in Atlanta. Some pieces were bought right after Duck was gone. Those weren't just jewelry. In the streets they were trophies. Proof. A visible, "we got him" statement. Marcus Smart was pictured with Vaughn during that time. The message was clear to everybody watching. But here's the part that still haunts people who were close to the situation. Duck had signed a major Sony deal. He had a path. He had 4 kids. His mother has said repeatedly that her son was trying to move differently. Yet he kept one foot in the streets and kept dropping that pain music. One voice from the clip said it raw: Duck signed the deal. I'm thinking he's gonna change his mindset. But I see folks' ass still on the block posted up. That decision, according to those deep in the streets, is what made the hit inevitable. Music gave him power, but it also painted a target on his back that kept growing. 6 men, Marcus Smart, DeCarlos Offord, Ralph Turpin, Charles Liggins, Kenneth Roberson, and Christopher Thomas, are now serving life because of this. O'Block as a crew took a massive hit. Vaughn himself was killed just 3 months later in Atlanta. Lil Durk has been named in civil suits claiming he knew about the bounty and the violence surrounding it. The entire situation pulled labels, managers, federal agents, and 2 generations of Chicago families into the aftermath. Trap Lore Ross keeps coming back to one uncomfortable truth. This wasn't random street violence. This was a sustained, calculated hunt fueled by music, grief, ego, and a specific pain that comes when your dead homies are turned into content and punchlines for the world to consume. Von's own music was doing the exact same thing on his side, Took Her to the O, and other tracks were basically confessions playing on repeat. Both sides were turning real life into art, and that art was feeding the streets right back. This is why Memo 600 and others who lived it say nobody tells the real story. The real story isn't clean. It's talented young men from the same brutal environment who found a way out through music, only to use that same music to destroy each other. It's mothers burying sons. It's federal RICO cases treating drill music like mafia wiretaps. It's a city that produces generational talent and generational trauma at the same damn time. The Chicago drill changed the world. Chief Keef opened the door, Von took it mainstream, Duck brought his own raw energy from the other side. But the price paid in blood keeps getting higher. New diss tracks drop, new names get added to the list, and the cycle continues while the world streams the pain and debates in comment sections. The real reason King Von allegedly put that heavy money on FBG Duck? It was never just about the streets. It was about what Duck's voice represented, a public challenge that wouldn't stop. A threat that lived in headphones and speakers long after any street situation ended. And once that kind of war starts, it rarely ends peacefully. And that is the complete picture that nobody else gave you today. We broke down how the beef started with the Exposing Me remixes in 2019, escalated with Von's prophetic music video in February 2020, reached boiling point when Duck dropped Dead Bitches in July, and ended with a broad daylight Gold Coast hit on August 4th. We covered the FBI documents showing the bounty going from $50,000 to $100,000, the alleged trophy chains, the 6 federal RICO convictions, and Trap Lore Ross's revelation that Von saw Duck as the ultimate trophy because of his music, not just street activity. So now I need to hear from you. Do you believe Duck's music was the real reason behind the hit, or do you think it was deeper street business? Was the bounty real or just street talk? Do you think the 6 men doing life are paying for Von's alleged obsession, or was justice served? And most importantly, when does this cycle in Chicago rap actually stop? Drop your real thoughts in the comments right now. This community doesn't do surface level, we go deep. Tell me if this changed how you see the whole Von versus Duck situation. If this video gave you the full context the trial and blogs never did, smash that like button. Share it with somebody still arguing about this beef in 2026. And if you're not subscribed yet, fix that right now. We bring the real stories, the hidden details, and the truth nobody else wants to touch. Rest in peace to FBG Duck. Rest in peace to King Von. 2 talented voices gone way too soon. The truth will always be right there. We went out.